So, what's the process like for you when you have a book coming out?
Mm-hmm.
How do you tell people about it? What's the process like for you to market it, get it out there to fans?
I mean, there's the initial stage of like talking to the publisher, obviously, and like, okay, when is this going to be announced? Who's going to announce it? How's all that going to happen? Like for Infinite Dark, it was like a lot of talking about getting if we could get Sci-Fi Wire to make that announcement for us, and they did. I'm really grateful, and it really worked out, and I hope that helped us reach more people. And then once it's been announced, it's sort of like a weird mix of like, okay, what friends and creators do I send this to? I don't want to send it to reviewers too soon because I want it to be.
You don't want them to put it up and then there's no book to go buy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also like you don't want because orders happen like 3 months after the book gets announced.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I don't want to do a big press push early on, and then once it's time for retailers to order the book, they're like, what was that? Didn't it come out already? Yeah. So right now, like again, using like my Infinite Dark timeline, it's in solicits this month, and so like the final orders will happen in September. So right now it's getting it in friends' hands and certain reviewers and planning ahead and talking to people and then in September is going to be a lot of like calling retailers, and like doing that retailer outreach and.
So you're going to pick up the phone one person at a time. Call Midtown Comics. Call Heidi Ho. Call Comic Bug.
I'm not going to call Heidi Ho because you're involved with Heidi Ho and I hate you.
Not anymore, but they are still great people.
Okay. Then I like them absolutely. Yeah. Now I will absolutely call them. No, you're not involved. No. Yeah. I mean you. I don't know. I don't know everybody does that, but I know a lot of people do it, especially when it's creator owned. It's a personal thing. Just giving them a call and being like, look, what can I do to make you want to pick up more copies?
Yep.
Can I send you a PDF? Is there any way I can do a signing when I come through? Can I send you copies? What works?
And that's the way to do it,
Yeah.
And it's really tough because a lot of them don't give you the time of day because they get some of these calls,
Of course.
And you have to kind of find a way to just incentivize them, and tell them this is going to be like a thing,
right?
And so that's part of the battle,
Yeah, and it's important in comics not to get dejected, right? Because everybody gets pitches rejected and gets ignored or slighted at parties or whatever, and you never know like what. Because, like you said, it's such a relationship-based industry. You have to give people and companies and publishers and retailers the benefit of the doubt because you never know
what someone's going through.
Yeah, what they're going through, like what their plate looks like, or why they have to reject a book or don't, or yada yada.
It's interesting because I've I've called places before and like you'll be going through and you call 50 places in an hour or whatever. And everything will be going smoothly, and you'll get through sometimes, and sometimes you won't. And then one time you'll get a call, and someone will pick up, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, what?" And they'll give you attitude, and you'll be like, "Oh, hi, I'm trying to talk to you about my book." They're like, "Not interested," and they just hang up, and you're just like, "What the heck did I do to that guy?" Like and they like think it's their fault for getting rejected, but the reality is like that person has their own thing going on, and it's not up to you to.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely. They shouldn't be shitty, but also you don't know. Like,
you don't know what's going on with
their
them.
mom might have just passed away.
Exactly,
Or some crazy
you
shit
never
like
know.
That. Yeah, or they're just having like a really rough day and they don't want to deal with you.
Exactly.
And and for every and I don't say this to like belittle indie scene at all, but for every like top diamond publisher book person who's calling them, there's like 20 or 30 other people who are like, hey, I'm self-publishing my book, can I get it on your shelves? Which is a thing you should do, it is admirable, but they are like, they're inundated with everything, so they're not sure who you are and if they want to talk to you, and they might just be out of patience for the day.
Exactly. And you're like, alright, well, I wasn't going to give your book a shot, but I'm still not going to give your book a shot. And as a retailer, I've worked on that side of the aisle too, and it's not easy on both sides because, you're getting that extra copy of that big book is more, you can sell that because you can just say, hey man, have you checked out the new issue of Ms. Marvel? Have you checked out the new issue of Green Arrow? Bam, it's in your hand. And then you have to remember to go and sell another book that's not as big, it's like you have to like go out of your way to be like, oh yeah, I did get one copy of this book, now I have to learn this whole pitch to sell this one book so I can get it. Because it's really, there's a barrier to entry for comic books and it's in the retailer's hands.
Right.
It's word of mouth, it's like, have you heard about Walking Dead? Have you heard about Saga? It's like, there's these conversations that happen all the time in the comic books industry. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and I mean, that's changing a little bit, planning ahead and thinking more about, Amazon sales and trade paperback sales and, other like the book market, I've got some projects in the works that are like aren't really targeting the direct comics market. I mean, it's a factor, but they're more focused on book market stuff or Amazon or digital things, you know. So it's a.
How's Amazon? I know Top Cow does like the best.
Top Cow does very well on Amazon. I have no idea. Like that's a Matt Hawkins brilliant move. I don't know. It's above my pay grade. But yeah, I've noticed that on all the books I've worked on or books that I haven't worked on there, like well, you know, I don't I'm not an editor anymore. But the only thing I still edit is Step It In with the Cedric on Sunstone and Bloodstain and Swing with Matt and Jenny.
I love Swing, man. Like
yeah, you a big Swing guy?
I thought it was done in like a tasteful way. Yeah. I really enjoyed that story, and like it didn't feel like it was like a story I'd heard before. It felt like something new, felt something exciting. You know, not necessarily I'm going to go out and try Swing or anything like that, but but it was a fun story to like kind of get behind in like in a medium that I love.
Well, and I think that's the same reason like Sunstone, you know, touches people because it's like, you know, you might not have any interest in the BDSM scene or any of that stuff, but it's tasteful and earnest. It's really earnest. You know, it's almost like it's wholesome at times, which I think is some people might balk at that adjective, but I think a lot of those books are wholesome content. Yeah. I think that's part of it too. Is why those books do so well on Amazon is being able to court. On Amazon, it's online. You can find people all over who might not want to pick that book up in person because of weird stuff they have in their head or perception, or they stumble across it because of other stuff. And you know, getting books that channel those markets is a smart tactic as well.
Absolutely, I think that's something that's like so important to find a way to talk to your audience and find your audience and see where they are and get out to them. Something I've been just kind of experimenting with recently is like email lists. Yeah. And like that stuff that I'm kind of messing around with to figure out how to make, how to get into fans, how to get into fans' hands, people who love comic books and get them the content directly. So I'd like to you know, I also trust the retailer, but I also want to go around so that the customers are going in and picking up the book without the retailer telling them what to do, because I think it's if you can get both of them being like, hey, have you heard of Saga? Actually, I came in here to pick up Saga. It only reinforces your connection with that book, with that property. Oh, they were going to sell it to me anyway. That means it's the thing to get. Right. And it's like, you know, it's the whole, like, your human mind is like, okay, my idea has been reinforced by this fact. So it's something that I'm kind of experimenting with. I know Matt Rosenberg, for example, who's on your shirt.
Yeah, this is not. I don't mean this to be mean. Matt and I are friends.
But I know he does an email list. You know, I got his you know, his invitation to go and check out his Multiple Man book.
Which is an awesome book.
I haven't read it yet.
It's real good.
But I mean, the fact that he's doing that, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I normally wouldn't pick that book up, but because like it was marketed to me in a tasteful way, I was like, maybe I'll go in there and take a look when it comes out. And so it's interesting how that whole thing works.
Yeah, and part of that is also like being accessible to fans on social media, which I don't think everyone is obligated to, or even everyone should do, but for certain people it works, right? Yeah. Like being able to engage with people and letting them know that you care, that they're reading your books, you know.